Hello and welcome to today's United Kingdom talk. Well, I finished off the end of last week's show telling you about my Thorpe Park adventure with my two nephews and my niece. Now, I hasten to add there my two nephews and niece because I was listening back to the last show and I actually said my two nieces and nephew, and that's completely wrong. You see, I muck my words up now and again. I do apologise. My two nephews and niece, that's it. And we got as far as Pizzahut. Yes, boys and girls, when we got home that night, my best friend Ron came round with his other half, Andy, and I took everyone out to pizza. Once again, the bill seems to fall in my lap. What is that all about, eh? I do notice that. The bill always falls in poor old Uncle Christopher's lap. It's a liberty, that's what it is. Anyway, so we sat there and I ordered, because we'd had so much rubbish food on the day, because I'd already had, I have to say we, that's my two nephews, the older one's girlfriend and I, we'd already had hot dog, we'd had Burger King, and we'd had ice cream and waffles, so not the best of days for fruit and vegetables, I'm afraid, dear. You know, not good at all, really. But as we'd already had that, I ordered from Pizzahut while I was sitting there a small personal pizza vegetarian. So I would have all sorts of vegetables on the top there. Now, unfortunately, and of course we all sat there and made our order. Oh, excuse me, dear. Oh, I'm sniffing away here. Incidentally, the cough has gone. Have you noticed? Look, no cough. It's gone. It has been chucked. The virus and the bacteria has been taken from my body and expelled to everyone else, unfortunately. So if you've probably got a cough, it's likely to have come from me, and I do apologise. I do apologise. People say that flu viruses and coughs and colds and all sorts of things cannot travel down wires. I'm not so sure. I was watching the news the other day and I definitely heard the newsreader sneeze. Did it come through those wires, through the air and through my television set into my body? But it doesn't matter, because I reject it. I reject evilness. As I said when I was confirmed as a Catholic. Now, where were we? Oh yes, the Pizza Hut. So I've ordered my small personal pizza with vegetables on top. And then everyone else ordered theirs. Various different sizes. And anyway, when it came, Ron, of course, was playing up the camp. He was being very, very camp in there. I don't know why he does it. It's funny, when he's out in the street, he tries to put on this butch, husky voice. It doesn't come across. I can see straight through it, I'm afraid. I'm afraid I am actually one of those people who can see straight through the curtain. You understand what I mean? Certain people who, outside, you know, in certain atmospheres, is that the word? In certain situations, put on a front of some sort, whether it be nice or whatever, they put on a front. But I'm one of those people who can see past your curtain. So don't come to me being all lovey-dovey when I will be able to see past you and see the green bubbling mess that festers within your face. Eh? Oh, you're a nice person, are you? Oh, well, that's all right then. Well, we haven't got a bother, have we? If you're nice, it's no problem at all. I'll be able to see that as well. Anyway, so I made my order. The lady then went away and she came back with our orders and she came to me and said, we're very sorry, we haven't got any personal pizzas, so we've done you a medium one for the same price. I mean, you just can't win, can you? You try and be healthy eating and eat smaller portions, because that's my problem. I eat large portions. Okay? I find it very difficult to put, you know, to have one of those, what are those meals when they do really tiny portions? Oh, it's not a la carte. What is that called? Is it something cuisine, I think? Something cuisine. We'll have these tiny, but I mean, I can't be doing that, dear. Going to a restaurant, spending £200 and then, you know, being hungry afterwards. What's the point of that? So anyway, I had this medium pizza, but I only had... Well, I can't... 1, 2, 3... How many slices? Well, I left 2 slices, which they put in a box, and off they went. Yes. Off we went, rather. So we had the meal, had a little bit of a chat. Ron was being camp as always, and we left. And, of course, Ron had the lady the waitress lady, she was in stitches by the time he'd finished with her. And then off they went. My sister, not my sister, two nephews, the other one's girlfriend, Ron and Andy, all went through the door. And as I got to the door, I looked at the waitress. I said, "You've had a good time tonight with him, haven't you?" She said, "Yes." She said, "They're quite nice together, him and Andy." I said, "Yes." I said, "He used to go out with me before he found that young one." And I walked out and she was on the floor laughing her head off. We love it. And then we came back here, had a cup of tea and that was that. I think Jimmy and I, Gary, my older nephew and his girlfriend, they went to bed. Andy and Ronnie went home, and that just left me and little Jimmy to watch some more television until about 3 o'clock in the morning. And we do like our late night television. So all in all, a good day. And then the next day, well, we just potted about a bit. Where did we go out? Oh, I tell you, we went out for a for a bit of dinner in a pub. And I was looking in Bracknell for a carvery, and I could not find one anywhere. Couldn't find a carvery anywhere. I mean, basically, it seems to be the pubs in Bracknell, and there must be a couple that do sort of good. I mean, the food is good, but it's all basically burgers and chips, or fish and chips. And you know, the only vegetables that seems to be on offer is peas everywhere, and. You know what I'm like with my fruit and vegetables. I think it's important. So we tried one pub. We sat down. Where was it now? Oh, that's the phone going off, I'm afraid. We can't be answering that now. Can you hear it? That is actually Ron on the phone, believe it or not. That's his ringtone. Can you hear it? Can you hear that or not? Anyway, so that's that. We went to... eventually I went to, we went to it was a harvester first. We sat there and all I could find was like side orders of peas. There was nothing that you could do, peas, carrots and all this business. So we had a quick look at the menu, then we got up and we went. We went to another pub and I did found sort of a reasonable thing. Now there were no mixed vegetables on there. So I went to the counter. And I said, "Do you do any other vegetables other than peas with the meals?" And they said, "Well, what do you want?" I said, "Well, just mixed vegetables, please. A nice heap of mixed vegetables on each plate." And she said, "Yes, we can do that for you." So very nice, very nice lady behind there, accommodating us. So we ordered our meals in there, which was actually the pub that is very close to my house. And I've been here since 1992 here in Bracknell, and I've never, ever been to that pub. So we went in there. It was the Silver Birch. That's what it was called, the Silver Birch. So we went in there and had a little look round, and very clean. I believe it had just been decorated, and I also believe that the manager had just changed. Someone else who had been there before. He left for quite a number of years and came back again, and he's only just taken over again. So what I gather. So we ordered our meal, and it came. I had. Steak pie, a steak and ale pie with chips, because the mashed potatoes were finished, unfortunately. So I had to have chips, but it was at least a large pile of mixed vegetables, probably frozen, but that doesn't matter, So I had that, and everyone had what they had. But Jimmy, my little nephew, is the most... His eating really annoys me. He is extremely slow and leaves a lot of food on the plate, and that's one thing I can't stand, people leaving food on the plate. Don't have it. Don't cook it if you don't want it, or don't order it. I hate that. You can come, and there's a promise to you, right? You can come to my house any day of the week and have a look in the bin outside, the green bin where all the other unrecyclable stuff goes, and you will never ever find any food in there. I just can't stand food waste, and I've often had this conversation with you about food waste. I don't know about you. They were talking in our local council, Bracknell Forest Council, about giving everyone a slop bucket now for their unwanted food. And I just, I wouldn't need one. How can people just throw away food all the time? It's just such an awful, terrible waste. It really is. And Jimmy will sit there with a plate. What did he have? He had of course he had a burger. You know, he had a chicken burger, some vegetables, and chips. So the meal arrives. He then picks up a chip and starts nibbling at it. And I get so frustrated watching that. You know, when he paid. And of course, by the time I finished, you know, I might have had 2 chips. He'll only ever eat a quarter of the meal. And I just find it so frustrating. Have you got children like that? I'm dying to know if you've got children that just pick up, like, he just doesn't eat, he picks, okay? And it's the same with all the meals that I ever take him out to. He picks. Do you have that with your children? Or is that something they grow out of? I'll be interested in that. Do let us know. There's an email address to the show. My email address is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Do you have children, or have had children, or perhaps you were one yourself, that just pick at their food? They don't eat it properly. Let us know. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. The other thing I can't stand when people are eating is when they just use the fork. What's all that about? What's happened to the eating habits of the UK? And my sister does this. Sometimes she brings a meal out and you get a fork. Well, where's the blooming knife? And they're like, well, just with one fork. It's almost like lazy eating, isn't it? Have you seen this yourself? Lazy eating with a fork. It's awful, awful. You should have a knife and a fork and eat properly, not like swirling around their plate with this blooming fork, trying to, you know, chasing the bit of potato or whatever it is around the plates. Oh, I hate it. Eating just with a fork. Do you do it? I want to know. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk, my email address. So we finished, well, I finished my meal, Gary finished his meal, Stacey finished her meal, Jimmy left about 3/4 of the plate as usual. Listen, picking up a chip and chewing on it, tiny bit. Takes him about 5 minutes to eat a chip. And then I got talking to some man in there. It was a very quiet afternoon. As you know, I do tend to talk to random people in the street at all times. And I was saying, oh, are you regular in here? He said, oh, yeah, we just started coming back in here. Apparently, the pub gets a bit rough at night times. That suits me, dear. Let's see some of those rough lads in the pub. I want to see them now. But apparently, that's being cleaned up now. It was something to do with the people that were running it before. Now this other guy's back. The bloke was telling me he doesn't put up with any mischief or trouble or anything like that. That was it, really. I had a bit of a conversation with him. Had a look around the pub. As I say, very clean. It'd just been done up. And we left there. I came back here. I think I went... where did we go then? We went to Sports Direct, and little Jimmy bought yet another football. You have never seen a boy with so many footballs just hanging around the garden. Every time he goes to this sports shop, he likes the same clothes shop as me, Sports Direct. He has to go into the place and buy another football. It's just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And now and again when I give him a bit of money, and I've tried to teach him to save up for his house, but he keeps spending the money, so it's a bit of a waste of time doing that now, I think, really. Really disappointed. I expected him to have... I had a kind of an amount in my head which I hoped he would have had by Christmas. And he's nowhere near it because he saves up a bit and then takes the money out and buys something again. Oh dear, oh well. That was it. I came back here, they watched some telly, I went to bed. When I got up, they left to go home and I went to work, and once again the house is quiet. So there we are. That was my few days with my 2 nephews and the older one's girlfriend. Very nice indeed. Eh? Very nice. Now, James Dean from matineeshow.co.uk. He has been as well for a couple of days, and he's gone now. And we didn't even have time to record a show together. How disappointing is that? He was supposed to come down Belushi's with me on Saturday nights, where I work, do some DJing in there. Belushi's Hammersmith every Saturday night from 10 o'clock. But he got a phone call from Pretty Boy Scott. You know Scott? The one who was in Dream Boats and Petticoats in the West End, which is now closed. And also on X Factor. He got a phone call and said, oh, we're all meeting up. So I was abandoned in Belushi's so he could go off with some other friends. I mean, it's nice, isn't it, eh? You come down to see one people, and just because someone else rings up, he just leaves me at the drop of a hat and off he goes. Once again, sitting in there, DJing all alone. I'm getting fed up being you. Do you know, I always seem to be second best to people. I'm always the one who's like the backup. Do you understand what I mean? Always second best. The only people I was first best to, I think, was my mum and dad. That's it. I have always been second best. How do you get to be the most important person in someone's life? Because I don't think I ever have been, as I say, except with my mum and dad. I've never been, I'm sure I haven't been the most important person in someone's life. How do you do that? Do let us know. Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Right. Little technical issue, by the way. Those of you that watch the show on YouTube, I've just looked back at a couple of the shows, and there seems to be lines on the video when I move, when I create movement, either with my hands. I'm actually looking at a camera now, making a bit of movement with my hands. Are there lines on there? And I'm not quite sure why that's doing it. Any technical people help me out with that one. I do believe it's called either interlacing or combing. Combing effect when I move. Does anyone know why it's doing that? There'll be an answer to it. I just don't know what it is. If you do know and you can help me with that one, then it's Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk, my email address. And email time. First of all, from Millie in Minnesota, Motorised Millie. Hello, Millie. She says, hi, Chris. I've just finished watching the show you did with Gwen on the phone. What a lovely person she is. I know she'll be back in Belushi's singing her heart out very soon. Please give her my love and tell her I'm still praying for her. So, of course. So, thank you for that one, Millie. And, yeah, I mean, most of us, including me, seems to think she's so positive. So positive about this whole thing, and she's had the treatment and she's slowly recovering. I spoke to her again yesterday. She sounds a little bit better on the phone, so I'm sure she will be back singing. She'll win this one. Millie goes on to say, on a different subject here, regular listeners and viewers of the show will know that back in March, one of my friends that I was supposed to see when I was in the UK last month died suddenly. The inquest took place yesterday, and after many months of wondering, we now know what led to her passing. It was a heart condition that no one, not even the lady Deborah herself, was aware that she had. Fortunately, death was instant, and she didn't suffer. I still miss her every day. I got a lovely message from Deborah's mum today, thanking me for being such a good friend to her daughter, and telling me that I was very special to Deb. That brought on the tears, and it took ages for me to pull myself together again. Thank you for letting me share this, and lots of love from Millie. Yes, I mean, all deaths, if you're fond of someone, are very hard. They all are. And some of them, are, you know, take, for example, my mum and dad. Some of them, like with me, you never get over them. I'm sure you never get over them. All this time is a great healer. I think that's a load of rubbish, to be honest. I still hurt constantly through my mum's death. But you learn to live with it. I don't believe that time is a great healer, because I've experienced nine years now, almost 9 years. It's just coming up to my mum's anniversary. The 18th of November is my mum's anniversary. I actually wondered about taking my recording equipment down to the grave, actually, and recording a show from there. You may think that's a little bit wrong. I don't know. I don't know if that would be wrong or not to do that. Just a normal show, nothing special, but by the graveside. Might do that, might not. Don't know. My dad, if I'd have ever... Mum, I'm not sure about Mum would, if she was still here, would wanted to have appeared on the show, but Dad would have done. Oh my God, he'd be the first up here. He'd be driving down here as fast as he could, ready to get ready for the show. He would have had... My dad always wore a suit and shirt and tie. Even when he retired, he still put on trousers and a shirt. That's how it was then, I suppose, you know, in those days. Anyway, thank you, Millie, for that. And that's the other thing, people that die suddenly. I suppose really that's a better way to go, isn't it? No suffering or anything like that, you know, to just go to sleep and then not wake up. I mean, don't start worrying now, for Christ's sake, about going to sleep. Oh my God, you're going to be... I hope there's no one listening in bed at the moment, are they? You'll be frightened to close your eyes now, won't you? But when you see the way some people suffer in those last hours, days, weeks, or even months... Some people suffer great pain for months and months and months, don't they? Isn't it better to just go out like a light? It's awful to see someone suffering. I mean, it really is. Anyway, thank you for that one, Millie. Onwards. This is from... someone on YouTube. It's Cass from Texas. Hello, Cass, who says, "Hiya, Chris. Thanks for posting your YouTube videos. Gwen is such a top act and a fab old girl. I only got to see her sing about 3 or 4 times while I was in London, but she did the absolute best version of Coldplay's Fix You I've ever heard. I wish her all the best and pray she gets better." And that's from Cass in Texas. So thank you for that one, Cass. If you're wondering who Gwen is, you might be a new listener or viewer to the show. Gwen is a very good friend of mine, and indeed this programme, United Kingdom Talk, and she's often joined in by telephone. And at the moment, she was diagnosed with cancer a few months ago now, and she's had the radio... what is that? The radio... treatment, the radiotherapy. Okay, she's had the radiotherapy, and she is at the moment at the home recovering from that, and that was about 3 weeks ago. And she was talking about it in a show 2 shows ago, I think it was. Okay, if you ever want to look at any of the older shows, then please go to the main United Kingdom Talk website. That's at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. All right, unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Facebook message here from Lisa. Lisa Michelle Ayres. What a lovely name you've got, my darling. Lisa Michelle Ayres. That kind of got a lovely friendly ring to it. Gwen is an awesome and positive person. I wish her only the best. So nice quick one there from you, Lisa. Don't forget, you can send your messages to Gwen in. She will hear them. I read them to her down the phone. Or indeed, you can send an audio message if you know how to do that. Little MP3, maybe, I don't know, 20 or 30 seconds long, whatever. And you can send that to the usual address as well. I don't play out the audio messages on the show because I do feel they're a more personal thing, specifically for Gwen. But she does hear them. They get played down the phone to her again. As I say, usual email address, chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Tommy, who's in Camden, London, says, "Gwen sure is an amazing lady in every sense of the word." Thank you, Tommy. Camden in London. Right, how are we doing for time now? I've got quite a long email here from Jason in Brighton. However, looking at the clock, I've only got 5 minutes left, so I think we're going to hold on to Jason's email and we'll do it in the next show, okay? We'll do a couple of smaller ones again. Oh, got to say hello to Alan, who's a regular drinker in the Two Brewers in Clapham, where I work on Thursdays and Sunday nights doing some DJing and putting a show on. And Alan came up to me. He often comes up to me in the pub and says, "Oh, did you sort your settee out for your nephews when they're coming to stay?" And I kind of, how does he know that? And of course I forgot, you know, he watches the show. It's funny, he often does that. He comes up to me on a Sunday night and asks me how something was, like, has your cough gone or something like that. And I'm thinking, why is he asking me that? And I keep forgetting that he does actually watch the show. So hi to Alan and Chris as well in Clapham in London. I have to say, Halloween this year, of course, a couple of weeks ago now, we've had Halloween now. I did a Halloween party in Bluches in Hammersmith. Very poorly turned out, really. And we can't... It was one of those nights where you're kind of standing around and thinking, why hasn't this happened? And you do get that occasionally. You'll get a night when you prepare everything, and a night that is usually quite good. You know, Saturday nights in Bluches is usually quite good. And for some reason, the Halloween night, it just didn't happen. You know, at 12:15, there was barely anyone in the pub. And suddenly they all came in at about 12:30. Well, I mean, we close at 2. So we're not quite sure what happened there. So a disappointing Halloween. Did you have a good Halloween? Have you got any Halloween pictures that you could send me, either of yourself or perhaps your children, and we could scroll them across the screen I've got behind me? If you have, love to see them. Perhaps you in fancy dress or something like that. Send them in, Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. When James Dean came down, he was down for Halloween, actually. I did actually think he had a mask on, but it was his usual face. How vile is that? Okay. Hello to Doug, who says, was Gwen the lady that had a guy sit on her lap on the bus? Yeah. Yes, it was. And Doug says, well, you need to tell her to hang in there because there's a long line of good-looking men that want to see her on their lap. Thank you, Doug. I'll pass that on, don't you worry. And she's got a husband, you know. Leave her alone. Trying to jump the queue like that. It's a liberty. That's what it is, dear. And Doug also writes, unlike Ucus, hang on, A-O-K-U-S, Ucus, who we're now calling Suko Ucus, because she always changes my name around when she's talking about me on other radio shows. So her name is Ucus, Ucus from Way, hang on, Roy, Wayne Roy. That's her name backwards. So we call her Ucus now, O-K-U-S. Ucus from Way Roy. Which, Y-O-R, oh no, Way Croy. Ucus from Way Croy. And Doug writes, unlike Ucus from Way Croy, I do like it when you get distracted from reading my email. What do you mean distracted? I don't know what you mean, dear. I always read the email straight through with no problem whatsoever. You know that. Eh? Now, let me see. I think that's it for now. There's a few more emails waiting. We'll do them in the next show. Just very quickly, I want to read you this letter because my accountant has just sent my accounts back together with his fee. Okay? So here's the letter I wrote back to him. Dear Thieving Beastard. You know what Beastard is, don't you? Dear Thieving Beastard. Here is your cheque so you can go on yet another holiday at my expense. While you are laying there on the beach, please do not think of me scrimping and saving, checking out the bins in my area for any food someone might hopefully have thrown away. It's not like the tax bill is cheap either. Am I paying for the whole of the Iraqi war or government expenses? Quite frankly, I wonder if you've even tried to whittle away that rather excessive bill. I shall be considering all of this while on the BA business seat to Australia in January. It's a liberty, that's what it is. Are you doing this because I am gay and you hate all gay people? Are you working for the Daily Mail? Yours getting even poorer, Chris Reardon. That's a good letter to send to an accountant, isn't it? See you on the next show. Thanks for watching and listening. From myself, Chris Reardon. Bye-bye.